So I saw the Angry Birds movie yesterday, which I will be talking about on Film Week later this week on Friday. And you said you heard some people say it was funny.
You know, there was a huge... Now, wait, did you go to the premiere in Westwood?
No.
Because there was a premiere in Westwood where they made... You know that street where Diddy Reese Cookies is?
Yes.
You know, with a BJ's...
sure, right next to Gypsy Cafe.
I love that place.
Love it.
They cordoned off that whole street, and they turned it into a giant Angry Birds screen.
Great. That's fantastic.
And it was awesome.
Wonderful. Yeah, so you know people who said it was funny.
Yeah, well, I'll check on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
And
we'll see what it has.
Because I'm serious. I sat there for the duration of the 97 some odd minutes. I think I left with like 3 minutes left of credits because I couldn't take it anymore. It's got a 63%, so it's dropped. It's not funny. And I was in a theater filled with kids, tons of kids. Normally, when you go to see a movie, one of those Saturday morning family animated deals where everybody brings their kids. You get one of either two reactions or some combination thereof, which is either the kids are laughing and screaming and they're loving it and crawling all over each other and grabbing for each other's popcorn, or you hear intermittent weeping because something has scared the bejesus out of them. So honestly, this room was dead. It was dead. There was no weeping, there was no wailing, there was no gnashing of teeth, no crying, no screaming, no laughing, no nothing. Nothing. It was just a dead room. And it was utterly unfunny, and it has a great opening set piece, which is a lot of fun. And then as soon as the dialogue starts, it falls with a big thud and never really recovers. And there's one joke in it, there's one line that I thought was funny, and I think I was the only person that laughed at that one. But man, it's not good. Josh Gad is the only saving grace. Here's you know what of the voice talent. Is there one that sticks out to you where you go, huh, that's interesting in an animated film? Is there one?
What animated film, except for like Robin Williams in Aladdin, where you go, oh my God, this is perfect. What animated film has had that recently?
Well, I'm not saying that. There's one name in the voice cast for Angry Birds that should make you go, huh, that's interesting.
Peter Dinklage.
No. That makes complete sense. He's actually quite good.
Sean Penn.
Yeah. Now, get this. And I have no qualms about spoiling this. There's no reason for Sean Penn to have voiced the character he voices. He voices, the big, in the game, the great big fat heavy red bird that just is there to knock things down. Okay, he voices one of those. He voices that guy.
So basically,
he has no dialogue, not a single word. Sean Penn says nothing. Here's what he does. Here's the extent of Sean Penn's voice contribution to this film. He growls. That's it.
Well, that's like on The Simpsons when Maggie finally spoke in a flashback or something. It was Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah.
But Maggie didn't actually say a word. I think she said daddy. That was it. So Elizabeth Taylor, who was like the recluse, who never acted and whatever, she's finally doing The Simpsons. Oh, my God. This is going to be great. And in the end, she says one word.
He grunts. That's it.
That's comedy.
Anyone can grunt and growl. So essentially, they paid Sean Penn... one would presume probably 7 figures purely just so they could market his name above the title or on the billing block. That's crazy.
Yes, because Sean Penn will get adults who normally would never see a film like that to maybe consider it because it's got Sean Penn in it.
I'm sure there's someone out there who's going to look at this and go, Angry Birds, not really. Oh, Sean Penn? The 2-time Academy Award winner? Well, maybe this movie is not what I think.
Or maybe
there's some real thespian quality to those birds.
The adults will be less annoyed that they have to go.
Yeah, I guess.
Can we talk about movies?
Yes, let's do it. So, have you seen anything that you've liked, by the way?
I've only seen Money Monster.
Yeah,
which made me very angry.
Yeah, you hated it.
But I am seeing The Nice Guys on Wednesday.
I'm seeing it tomorrow morning.
What? Mm-hmm. Oh, is that because the?
Well, that's.
Is that because the email that I forwarded?
Yeah, yeah. You alerted me to it, and so I contacted the people at Warner's, and I said, I want to come Monday morning. Okay, we'll put you on the list. So I'm going to go out to Warner Brothers at a horrible hour of the morning, and
No. At that time of the morning. When is it?
it's at 11.
At that time of the morning, there'll be no traffic.
Well,
not going north.
Okay, it's like this. So it's at 11. It takes about once you get to the okay. So it's at 11. It takes at least 10 minutes to walk from the parking structure to screening room 4. So make it 15 minutes if you want to get there a little bit early. Pass through security and the whole thing, and then it could take upwards of around 10 minutes to find a parking spot in that gigantic structure that's across the street. So you got to give yourself at least 25 minutes. Before, so I got to get to the structure around 10:30, let's say, to be safe, and that means I got to leave at about 9:30. So that means 9:30 a.m. traffic on the way to Burbank is going to be hell.
It'll be fine.
It won't be.
For years, I lived in Santa Monica and worked in Burbank, and it was fine.
All right. So,
talk about movies.
Talking about movies. You know what? Here, Mark, this is. I saved this so that you could see. Here we go. I have restored everything to its original swag condition because I want you to experience what I experienced. What is this, Mark? What is this? Have we ever received a DVD in that condition, a Blu-ray in that condition? What is it?
Well, it's an evidence bag.
Oh, it's an evidence bag.
And it says, do not use this bag for any evidence that has wet, damp body fluids on it.
Oh.
To seal the bag, peel off release liner, then seal bag by pressing down on glue line.
All right, do it.
So it's an actual evidence bag.
It's an actual evidence bag, so there's some police activity going on here. It's an evidence.
Oh, you never opened it?
No. I sealed it up again. Come on, here. Open it up. Well, just tear it open. Do whatever you got to do. There you go. Okay.
Wait, how'd you reseal this?
With great difficulty.
Who's doing this? Stop that. Seriously. Wait, how did you... You didn't open this up and reseal it, did you?
Yeah,
How did you do that?
Yeah,
this will never be seen again because it's...
Okay.
What DVD could this be? What Blu-ray could this be? It's Dirty Grandpa.
It's the worst movie ever made.
Got all sorts of stuff in it. It's got it has a Trustex condom in it.
Oh my God.
It's got a bottle of pills. Dirty Grandpa's unrated Dick's Little Helpers, performance enhancers, 50 milligrams, 100 tablets. I'm sure these are Tic Tacs or something.
It's the worst.
That's that. It's got a bra.
Mm-hmm.
I guess some sort of spring break college girls bra.
Yeah.
And it's got the Blu-ray of Dirty Grandpa.
So there's a tremendous amount, not a huge amount, obviously, but there's a certain amount of expense and effort that went into dressing this thing up, as it were, just so that someone in our position could get the thrill of opening up and going, oh, Dirty Grandpa. Well, they threw us a bra and a condom and some fake pills in an evidence bag. I can't possibly say anything bad about it now with all that wonderful swag. No, yes, I can. This film's terrible. This is appallingly horrible. Now, the reason that this is so upsetting to me in particular is not just because the movie is terrible, which it is, but Zac Efron being in it. I also have to review Neighbors 2 on Friday.
I heard that's not bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Because the first is just dreadful.
I know. I heard it's not bad.
The first is horrendous.
In fact, because I'm in a Rotten Tomatoes state of mind. Let's see.
Because, the difference here, it's the same team, except that Zach and Evan Goldberg went and actually were involved in writing the script this time. They just produced last time and obviously, acted. But anyway. So Dirty Grandpa, unrated. Oh, well, that certainly makes it better. This thing also has a gag reel, which is not funny. Here's the deal, basically. So Zac Efron is just a nice young guy getting ready to get married and have a nice career and really just become a straight-laced office-type guy. And then his grandpa, who has just lost his wife, decides that now he's a single guy again and he wants to go down and have a wild hootin' weekend in Fort Lauderdale, spring break, and just have at it. Now, and so, of course, the whole idea, as you might imagine, is Grandpa isn't really down there to loosen up. He's down there to loosen up his grandson, Zac Efron, who he thinks is about to make a horrible mistake by marrying the wrong woman and and all this stuff. So But this winds up going into Bad Santa territory, and not in a good way. And that's what's so sad, is because the guy that wrote this has now been hired to write Bad Santa 2. And that's not good. This goes so far beyond like enjoyable bad taste. It's just nasty, and it's gross, and it's unfunny. And it really, it's like Robert De Niro just said, okay, now what am I going to do with my reputation? I know. Why don't I just like wad it up and throw it in the gutter?
Yeah, it's destroyed.
It's destroyed.
He must have no sense of self-awareness. No sense of self-awareness.
But here's the thing. Is it so destroyed that it cannot be restored by a $50 million bidding war at the Cannes Film Festival?
Oh, for The Irishman.
For The Irishman.
Well, that's done now. STX.
That's done. STX, of all people, which is a new studio for those that don't know. STX is Robert Simon's veteran producer. He created a new studio some years ago, but they haven't really done much. They haven't done much. He's basically been loading up the relationships, getting a lot of lines of credit, a lot of cash to buy and make movies. And then they made their first big move when Relativity went into bankruptcy, and a lot of those Relativity films kind of were suddenly, Relativity needed some quick cash. They jumped in there and they bought a whole ton of Relativity titles and just took them off their hands. So they have something of a slate now. They released like 2 movies and they haven't done really, really terribly well. But The Irishman could be, I mean, look, if that thing can win Best Picture, suddenly you're a Best Picture winning company. Yeah,
but that budget's $100 million.
It's crazy.
That's way too much.
That's $100 million move, but they just made $50 million back. The Irishman literally has made back half its budget for its investors with a single domestic sale. That is something that doesn't even happen on $10 million independent movies. This is now a $100 million big budget movie, and it's made half its budget back just with a single domestic sale. That's incredible. I mean, it's for its investors, maybe not for its distributors, but for its investors, that's a money winner.
Well, here's what they've had so far: The Gift, which was a terrific film that did well. Okay, Secret in Their Eyes, which I understand why they picked that up just based on the cast alone.
Yeah,
did okay, not that great. The Boy, wow, with a budget of $10 million, made $64 million.
Yeah. And that's a good low budget kicker. And
then Hardcore Henry, which everybody hated, but it probably made them a couple dollars.
Well, so anyway, so back to the subject. Robert De Niro will probably see his career redeemed by The Irishman. Martin Scorsese, Al Pacino, who else is in that thing? It's kind of crazy. Pacino's never made a Scorsese movie. Isn't that nuts?
Oh, I can't wait.
I'm kind of really looking. It's a gangster film. It's like, come on, guys, please bring it. Be what you used to be. And but I have this deep-seated fear that when they finally make it, it's like they'll all kind of be at half speed. And
like Righteous Kill 2?
Yeah, it is just, no. But let's hope they still bring it, Let's hope they can all still bring it. That should be, there's no reason why that should not be amazing. By the way, the real actual story of The Irishman, you ever read the book?
I have not.
It's pretty amazing. It really is. It should be a great movie.
Well,
the thing that scares me is they reverse aging in the thing. So they're going to use all kinds of digital effects to make them look younger, which scares the daylights out of me. Yeah.
Just don't be Black Mass. Like Black Mass is the gangster film everybody thought would just be like the super home run Johnny Depp.
Don't be
Black Mass, not great.
Anyway, so the thing that most annoys me in this is not just Robert De Niro and all of the just unbelievable in the gutter bad humor that's not funny, but it's like this whole really disgusting relationship between Aubrey Plaza and Robert De Niro, and she of course is like a spring break girl who's got a thing for some old guy and she wants to bet him. It's horrible. Anyway, it's horrible. Forget about it. You just don't want to subject yourself to that. On the other side.
On the other side of the mountain?
Other side of the mountain. So we've got, there's some decent stuff.
I like this bra, though, because this is as close as I've gotten to a bra in like a year.
Well, you know what? Keep it. Exactly. And keep the condom, too. Actually, keep the pills, Mark. You can keep all of that.
I'm going to throw all of it away.
Oh, my gosh. It's just absolutely dreadful.
Unless somebody wants it. Maybe one of our listeners wants it.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. It doesn't even have the logo on it or anything like that.
No.
It's just
if you want if you want a bottle of pills that says "Dirty Grandpa" on it, I'll send it out. Wade, you don't have to pay for it. I'll send it out
That's
myself.
fine.
How should we do this? We should
I don't know.
say
it's
just a prescription bottle of green pills that says "Dirty Grandpa" unrated on it.
Yeah, that's right.
The fifth person to email us at gods@digigods.com with the subject line "Dirty Grandpa Pills."
Yeah, that's good.
Mark Hayes will personally put these pills in an envelope and send them to you.
Yeah.
Okay, right? Perfect. So hang on. No, wait. The fifth person weighs so against this, but I'll pay for it.
That's fine.
I'm just making this up right now.
Sure.
The fifth person to email us with the subject line, Dirty Grandpa, what did I say? Dirty Grandpa's Pills. Fifth person to email us, gods@digigods.com. Subject line, Dirty Grandpa's Pills, will get this prescription bottle of probably green Tic Tacs.
Sure.
And don't forget to include your address, for Christ's sake.
No one's going to want it.
Huh?
No one's going to want it.
Well, that's because we didn't announce it or promote it or anything. I just came up with it.
We have a Vox box today, by the way. Yes, we do. Not yet.
Oh. No. I'm keeping this Dirty Grandpa thing. I'm saying, fifth person, Dirty Grandpa's Pills in the subject line. If you do not leave your address, you are disqualified. Fifth person, I will send that to you.
Yeah, all right. So,
why do you hate that so much?
It's whatever. So, okay, so here's a good little movie I want people to check out is Jack of the Red Hearts. Because it has not just the lovely Famke Janssen in it, who has done next to nothing since they knocked her out of the X-Men series.
It's because she's like 50 years old and she's still trying to be hot. And she's
she's
a beautiful woman. Just don't try to just act your age.
I saw her walking down the street once in Paris. Did I ever mention that? It's the weirdest thing when it's wonderful to be in Paris, but then suddenly you go, that was Famke Janssen. Just walk right past it.
You know what? She's been there many, many more times.
A lot more times than I have, that's for sure, I'm sure. Anyway, but she's not the star of this thing. The star of this is Anna Sophia Robb, who is now kind of growing out of her child star years and into being quite an amazing young actress, and a much better actress, I think, in the long run than any of the what's her name, the two sisters.
Olsen sisters?
No. With
sisters.
Yeah, from the.
I don't know. Give me
sure. Oh gosh,
Don't stop the recording.
No, I'm not going to. Why am I drawing such a blank on the two sisters? With the funny names. You know what I'm talking about?
Wasikowska.
No, my brain is totally frying. From the
name one movie they've been in.
The Sofia Coppola film. Oh.
This is a moment, folks.
This is a moment. No, this is horrible.
Don't stop the recording.
I'm not going
to.
Wait,
so is it
the I Am
Nowhere?
Jack. Yes, Nowhere.
Nowhere, okay.
Nowhere.
Who are the sisters in Nowhere?
No, one of them was in Nowhere.
Just go. Keep
senility on a Sunday morning. I should have had breakfast.
Hang on, I'm going to look this up for you right now, Roger.
Should have had breakfast.
I'm going to bail you out.
Should have had breakfast.
What?
Should have had breakfast. My brain's not working this morning.
There were Nowhere, the Coppola film.
Yes. You're helping.
Oh, that's the Gregor Racket.
Oh, great. Oh, we're not going to cover a single title on this show.
Wait, Sofia Coppola directed a movie called Nowhere.
Unbelievable.
Sophia, God damn it, learn how to type. Sophia.
Unless it's Somewhere. What was it?
I think it was Somewhere.
Somewhere, there it is. You fed me Nowhere and I ate. That was all I had for breakfast. Bad information from Mark fed to me across the table. Terrible.
Oh, Elle Fanning.
Elle Fanning, the Fanning sisters.
I haven't thought about the Fanning
sisters
in a couple of years. I don't know what they were doing.
Well, anyway, they're good, both of them. But anyway.
We just can't remember their name, but they're fantastic.
Anna Sophia Robb, much better. And going to have a bigger career. So anyway, this is a little movie.
All that for Elle Fanning? It's like,
I know. This is what this show is. It's a train wreck, but it's a beautiful train wreck. So anyway, Anna Sophia Robb, really, really good in this. Plays, she kind of toughs it up, plays a runaway. And there's an interest. It becomes kind of a cool character drama, and dealing with autism and family and belonging and all of these interesting little things. When people fall into circumstances they didn't plan for, and how do you take negative circumstances and turn them into something positive? And that's what's really compelling about this. It's very heartfelt. It's really nicely put together. Jack of the Red Hearts, directed by Janet Griot, who does a really, really fine job. Most importantly, handles her actors really, really well. So I think this is a nice little discovery. And then let's see, real quickly, because we've got a lot to talk about. So just a few other new movies. Mark has just left the room. I think he's just abandoned me. Mark, where'd you go? Oh, Mark. Okay, Mark's not here.
Hang on.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
I'm coming. Hang on.
Okay.
Just keep talking about it.
I'll keep talking. Mark, did you know there's a Kindergarten Cop 2? It's all new. Yeah, it's all new. It stars Dolph Lundgren. Pretty terrible, I gotta say. It tries to get the same mileage as the first one, which by the way, I mean, we're way too long after the fact to try to get any mileage out of a sequel to a Schwarzenegger film that does not have Schwarzenegger in it. And the idea of some tough cop played by a European actor with a thick accent who has to balance being a tough cop with having kids climb all over him that he's not prepared for. That works once. It doesn't work a second time, especially when you're swapping an aging Dolph Lundgren in for Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime. Just does not work. So anyway, I guess maybe on straight to DVD, this is going to get a little bit of mileage, kind of, sort of, from people who have nothing better to do. But it's basically the same movie. I don't get it. Deleted scenes and a gag reel, and that's it. And it's just not very funny. Dolph Lundgren doesn't have the same self-awareness. I mean, we've interviewed Dolph on this show, and he's a nice guy, but he doesn't have the same comedic self-awareness that Schwarzenegger has. It just doesn't. And
there was a moment when like Jean-Claude Van Damme might have had that. He had this little bit of a blip.
He does have it, though. He just doesn't know how to exploit it. He needs somebody else to exploit it for him.
By the way,
yeah,
the New York Post
yes.
did an article on Jean-Claude Van Damme's daughter.
Yes.
Who was like smoking hot.
Yeah.
And is also a martial artist.
Yeah.
And you've got to Google New York Post Jean-Claude Van Damme's daughter, something like that, and you will be staring at something pretty hot.
Serious?
And she, oh yeah.
So is she a big deal? Is she doing movies?
Nah, she's trying to.
Okay.
Hang on. Let me show
you.
Right. I'll tell you what. I'll Finest Hours. You know, Disney. I have to give them credit for doing a pretty good job on these mid-budgeted sort of family adventure films. Sometimes they kind of knock it out of the park on these. Now, Finest Hours a bit middling. It stars Chris Pine, who. Chris Pine was like the thing for like a second, and now he's sort of just like doing stuff. But Casey Affleck's in it too, along with Ben Foster and Eric Bana. Anyway, this is about this rescue mission in the 1950s. 4 Coast Guard troops trying to go out to save a crippled oil tanker. And it's good stuff. Directed by Craig Gillespie. The characters are all stock types. The rescue stuff is all very professionally handled. So it's a very fastball down the middle of the road adventure story. The DVD looks great. There's a bunch of special features on it, including something about the U.S. Coast Guard, which of course is always worth it. So the rescue stuff really is the reason you're here, and all that stuff is very well edited and really well staged. It looks great. And Carter Burwell is one of my favorite composers. He just really knocks out of the park with the score. So yeah. Finest Hours. If it's Saturday night, you got nothing going on. I guess you can do worse than than the completely acceptably average Finest Hours.
Okay, so Dementia.
Hey, what was I going to tell you?
I don't know. You were going to say something about Chris Pine.
Oh, I forgot already. It's like the all Alzheimer's show.
Yeah.
I was going to say something, and then I said I'll do Finest Hours first, and then I forgot.
Oh no, it was before the Chris Pine thing. You got off onto a tangent that I really don't care about. So all right. So carrying on. Speaking of, we now have a movie called Dementia, which is basically about what's happening right now. We're very meta. So Dementia is. Dementia, I guess the best way to describe this is a cross between Misery and the what's the Takashi Miike film with the woman who tortures the guy with
Audition.
Audition, right. So this is like a cross between Misery and Audition. And you basically have a guy who's a war hero, and he's having Vietnam flashbacks and whatnot, and then he has a stroke. And on top of that, he has dementia. So there's stroke and dementia. I guess the stroke from dementia. So in any case, he winds up being put in the care of a full-time nurse who is horrendous. She is an absolute straight-up psychotic. And that's the movie. There you go. So, the whole Vietnam flashback thing, I don't know if they really needed to go there. I guess it adds a little something. But anyway, is the film effective? Yeah, I guess it's effective in the same way that Misery and Audition were already effective, but it's not really anything new. That's on Blu-ray from IFC, directed by Mike Teston. Never heard of before. It's competently done. Can't say that I actually think that much of the script, which is written by Meredith Berg, but there you go. If if that sounds like something you want to have for a nice Saturday evening sipping tea, by all means, go for it.
That's what I do on Saturday night. I sip tea.
I know you do.
And I watch bad movies like Synchronicity.
Is it really? Is it bad?
Yeah.
That's too bad.
It has nothing to do with the Police song album, Synchronicity. Yeah. Anyway, it's about this. You know what? It's one of those films that where you feel the director, Jacob Gentry, has seen all the big sci-fi films we've all seen too, like Blade Runner and Dark City. And it's all about this this scientist who uncovers the secrets of time travel. And you can tell for this guy, Jacob Gentry, that the film is nothing but just a reel for his visual effects, prowess. Because there's a lot of like, weird camera angles and crazy architecture, and it looks very dystopian. And it's all, cement and digital stuff, and it looks like just a show reel.
Yeah.
For him to direct like the next big science fiction, tentpole, and that's not telling a story. So. And the thing too is that when it doesn't even look that great. It looks better on Blu-ray than it did on the big screen, where it got a very brief release. But and the Blu-rays from Magnet. But ultimately, this thing looks fine because that's the only purpose it has for the director is to look fine. But the story itself is not great.
That's too bad. Okay, so we got a couple of little cool low budget jobs here. Both of them decently done, despite having very few resources to work with. I'm always curious to see, when you got films that can sort of make something out of nothing in an interesting way. The lesser of the two, but it certainly has its attributes, is Southbound, which is kind of an omnibus / portmanteau horror thriller thing. There are actually 5 different stories that all sort of intersect, and the way that they sort of do this is actually very clever artwork. They show like a pentagram made of roads on the cover of this thing, and you go, oh, okay, and then 5 tales. I get it. They're I get it. 5 scary roads, 5 different paths. Okay, so anyway, that's the issue here. Anyway, so 5 different stories of people who are trying to find something, get away from something, find someone, get away from someone, and it all sort of goes south in really interesting and very stylish ways. This is from The Orchard, who is doing a lot of really interesting stuff lately, and a good friend of ours, longtime publicist, just went over there to head things up. So The Orchard is doing increasingly interesting stuff. It's pretty stylishly done, well written, not going to appeal to all tastes, but I think it's decent. And then what I think is really, really cool is Dusk, which is a very interesting little low-budget thriller from Monarch about a guy whose wife is kidnapped and whose kidnappers lure him to presumably what is going to be the place where, you have to pay the ransom and get her released and all of that. And he goes to the hoop. But the issue is he all there? His sanity is somewhat in question throughout this thing. So that makes it interesting. It's the unreliable narrator trick that you often get in thrillers, which sometimes feels more like a gimmick, but here it's actually a dramatic device, and I thought it was done very nicely. So that is Dusk from Monarch, written and directed by a guy named Michael Maney. Keep your eye on these people; they'll be there for a while.
How to Be Single is a bad movie, and I'm not just saying that because I'm not a woman. However, I am single. But anyway, this movie, which was very blandly directed by Christian Ditter, stars Dakota Johnson, who's very bland in this movie, Rebel Wilson, who I'm tired of already, Alison Brie, and Leslie Mann, who I kind of like. And it's all about these women living in New York, and they're trying not to be single. One's the workaholic doctor, and the thing is that
this should have been funny.
Well,
it should have been with those people, with that cast.
Sort of it's true, but it's sort of this awkward hybrid between romantic comedy and, oh my God, R-rated girls just want to have fun and make penis jokes, kind of a, comedy.
Dirty Grandpa. They should have all met Dirty Grandpa. Exactly. We should have hooked Dirty Grandpa up with them and then not made either movie.
And Rebel Wilson, to me, she just says to me, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there. And you love me for it because I go there. And I'm like, you know what, just, you know where you can go? You can go back to Australia and go do TV because I just don't really care anymore.
She really does only have one gear, doesn't she?
Yeah, the I'm going to go there gear.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's why you love me because I go there.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just not good.
It's too bad. That's
A couple
really
featurettes that got deleted. The gag reel's funny because, it's funny. Dakota Johnson, though, I like her a lot. I think she might be limited in terms of range, but I do like her.
She's turning out to be a much more interesting actress than
Really?
I ever. Yeah,
You think?
I
Kind of bland. Now that might be the director here because the director doesn't really bring much.
I say that only not because she's done some amazing
She was
work.
very good, and she was the only good thing about 50 Shades of Grey, which is a terrible movie, but she was like a breakout.
Well, this is what I'm saying. To look at her and to think, okay, you got famous parentage and yada yada yada.
Oh, there's something there.
Yeah, and famous grandparentage and whatever. You think, okay, fine, you're sort of coasting, but then you realize, no, she's got some chops. Like there is something there. So I am curious to see where her career goes because I do think there's more there than meets the eye.
I think she might wind up doing like some European Best Picture nominee or something like that. Something where she becomes like like Rachel Weisz or Kristen Scott Thomas or no the other one not Kristen Stewart.
Kristen
Stewart.
Yeah.
She has those. Maybe she could do those sorts of films.
Kristen Stewart, I mean, who would have expected her after all this Twilight nonsense and getting raked over the coals for just being a horrible actress? And suddenly she goes and she does a French film and wins like,
the only American actress to win the César.
To win the César for Best Actress. It's just bizarre.
Have you seen the trailer for Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk?
Yes.
I'm really into it.
Are you?
I am.
Really?
I feel like it's such an interesting. The story reminded me of a Clint Eastwood film that was totally. Do you remember when Clint Eastwood came out with two films at the same time?
Flags of Their Fathers and Letters from Iwo Jima. Yeah.
Right. I liked Flags of Our Fathers more than most people because I liked the idea of how the media was trying to manipulate our feelings towards the war. Now, this movie, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, it's the same thing.
I realize that, but the trailer is a sort of creatively... It looks like they're trying to make a work of art out of the trailer as opposed to something that's selling me a movie. And I will look at the trailer and I go, it's a nice trailer. It's interesting, the cross-cutting between the Super Bowl and the thing and the war and all. But I really don't... I'm not feeling it.
It's going to be good.
I'm not feeling it.
It's going to be good.
I know it should. It's bound to be good. It's Ang Lee. I'm just not feeling it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not feeling it. Plus, it's a Academy aspect ratio. The trailer. It's very weird. Why do they do that?
Why do they do that? I don't know. Maybe it takes place during.
It's not widescreen.
No.
It's a very strange trailer.
Well, you know what? Well, here's the thing. Ultimately, the film will be widescreen. That's like got nothing but it's Ang Lee. It's not going to have effects and craziness.
It's an odd choice. Okay, and then lastly, on the new movie subject, we did review Joy. I guess a week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. We finally got our 4K Ultra HD of Joy. And it doesn't make any difference.
You even the movie is just as much of a mess in 4K?
Well, it's it's just not. I mean, you do get some additional stuff on the 4K, but just in terms of the audio selections and all that. But it's just. I mean, I still like the film. I'm still one of the only people that likes it. But it's not one of those films that you put in 4K and suddenly it just blows off the screen and you go, oh my gosh, it's night and day difference. It's not that.
It's
movie.
more like afternoon and dusk difference.
There you go. That's what it is. All right, Mark. Let's get into some television. I'm going to start us off with some Brit TV. I'm going to blow through some great Brit TV. Okay. Are you good with that? You're putting the bra on. Are you really? Are you seriously?
Trying to make you laugh.
Oh my gosh!
I briefly wore
laugh.
Bad grandpa bra.
Ooh,
which, by the way, I could throw this into the
That will make it so much more attractive.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. For the fifth person to email us at godsanddigigods.com with the subject line "Bad Grandpa's Pills" also gets the bra.
Yeah,
it's a size 4 from H&M.
Okay.
I'm going to throw this in an envelope.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So make sure you know that you're getting the bra too. So if you have if it's like a creepy thing where you're open up an envelope and there's a bra in it and it's like a weird thing, just know that maybe you should.
There you go.
Or if you want, you can always say don't include the bra.
So
but I will include the bra if you're number 5.
All right, the Brokenwood Mysteries Series 2 from Acorn. Got a lot of stuff from Acorn this week. The Brokenwood Mysteries Series 2, this is a really, really cool new mystery series on British television. Got to check this out. Really great stuff. A lot of Twin Peaks kind of opened up the door on all of this things are not right in suburbia thing, right? Where, bad things don't just happen in the city. You can go out to where you think it's peaceful and tranquil, and that's where things get really dark and gruesome. And that was Twin Peaks that kind of cracked the door open on that. And a lot of series, British and American, have gone there since. By the way, new Twin Peaks is coming out soon. They're shooting it right now. They're done shooting. They're posting.
You know, can I say something about Twin Peaks?
Yeah. What?
I don't know.
Well, you're gonna get it in this one.
Maybe
man.
I should watch. I never watched the show.
Yeah.
It seemed too weird for me. Like I feel like I had to be stoned or something to really.
It's funny too. Looking at the credits, my wife was just seeing. I mean, we know half the people that are working on the show. It's all the same people from the Lynch crowd. But anyway, so Brokenwood Mysteries is kind of in that same vein. Now, this is not British per se. This is we're Commonwealth here, but this is part of Acorn and their whole kind of British TV vein. But it's a great mystery, great set of mysteries. 4 mysteries here. Takes place in New Zealand, in the North Island, and much like you have that same feel as you had again with Top of the Lake, the Jane Campion thing. And it's just really, really well written and really well acted and really nicely put together. Good solid mysteries, and it's on DVD and Blu-ray. And then also from Acorn, we got a thing called Mayday, which is this is 5 episodes on 2 discs. It has a really, really cool cast, including Leslie Manville, who I just absolutely adore. She can do no wrong for me. Leslie Manville has, from her Mike Lee stuff, and we love Leslie.
She was
Manville.
nominated for an Oscar for
She was.
what one of those Mike Lee films? I forgot.
Yeah, I can't remember which one was.
Hang on.
All of was it all? Well, whatever.
All or Nothing.
Yeah, I think it was All or Nothing.
Let's see.
Anyway, this is really, really cool. Are you familiar with May Day? The May Day thing? We call it Labor Day here, and we celebrate it in a different month other than May. We're like in September whenever we do it. But, the May Day thing that was originally a communist holiday. Okay.
Right, yes.
So, anyway, this deals with there's like a parade on May Day. And the problem is we're into creepy village time again here, right?
Maybe she wasn't nominated. I could have sworn she was nominated for an Oscar.
I did too. Well, maybe not.
Huh.
This is our Dementia show. That's what it is. This is our Dementia show. We're wrong on everything. So anyway, this is blah, blah, blah.
No, so was not nominated for an Oscar.
Anyway, you got a creepy village. It's May Day, and a teenage girl disappears. And suddenly things get really, really dark. And again, it's that really cool Twin Peaksy, top of the lakey, Brokenwood mystery weirdness out in the in a place where you think that things should be right. And it gets really dark and weird and cool, and I think it's awesome. I really do. So 5 episodes of Mayday. Definitely check that out. Here's another great show. Absolutely great show. 19-2, Season 1. You know what I love about this?
The guy on the right is like he's got his back to the camera, but he's turned.
he's looking at the person who's going to buy this, and he's thinking,
that?
"Don't bother me. What are you doing? Who are you looking at? It's too tough, guy."
That's terrible.
It's really this is actually really really good.
Square-jawed Christopher Reeve Superman-looking guy.
I know, this is really good. So we're back into Commonwealth territory here. This takes place in Montreal, and it's Station 19. Basically deals with the Montreal police, and this is a straight up kind of procedural, really really interesting. Some very very I don't particularly like a lot of Canadian television. There's a lot of crap on Canadian television because it's usually heavily government subsidized and financed just so that they don't get stuck with too much American TV. So you get sort of a lot of space filler up there. But this is really, really good. It's intense. It's well written. It kind of captures, the whole Quebec thing in a really interesting cultural way. So I would highly recommend Season 1 of 19-2. And then let's see, go through here real quickly. Knock these last few out. We've got Dominion Creek. Which is also from Acorn. Dominion Creek takes place in 1897. And it's basically a Western. Fascinating kind of gritty Western in the Deadwood mold. Dealing specifically with looking for gold in the Yukon. Really interesting. That's worth checking out. Then we've got, let's see, And Then There Were None, Agatha Christie, a new version from A&E Networks that was aired on the BBC. This is on Blu-ray. And if you know And Then There Were None, it's one of the all-time Agatha Christie classics. It's been imitated 1,000 times. This just actually has an incredible cast, which includes, among others, the great Charles Dance and Sam Neill. They are just absolutely superb in it, and Miranda Richardson is not quite as great as I would have wanted her to be, but she's also in it. It's just a really, really first-rate cast. So there's no way that you can go wrong with them. There were none. Season 3 for A Place to Call Home, which is a wonderful Australian family drama that continues to be compellingly written and acted and very well nicely put together. I wouldn't call it, it's kind of like, it's sort of, I don't know, Dynasty in Australia a little bit. But anyway, this is maybe more kind of halfway between Dynasty and Downton Abbey in Australia. Anyway, Place to Call Home, really, really a good show. Continues to be really solid. And then Midwinter of the Spirit, which is a supernatural procedural that is fine, I guess. Good acting. I can't say that the whole supernatural part of it really, really works for me very well, but I'd have to probably read the novel. This is based on a novel, so it might be worth checking out. But, I mean, there's some good acting in here. Anna Maxwell Martin, tries to kind of, she gives it a little bit of a cool sheen, but it's sort of like I don't know, like an exorcism horror thing meets CSI. I don't know if that's really the right way to put it. And then Mr. Suffrage, the final season 4. This is from PBS. This show was really, really good in its first 3 seasons, and then the 4th season just kind of was on fumes. It tried to piggyback a little bit too much on Downton Abbey. So Jeremy Piven now has to go find another job again. He went from he jumped from Entourage into this rather ably and did a great job. But it's time. Mr. Suffrage, Mr. Selfridge, however you want to pronounce it. And then a couple of Shaun the Sheep releases here. We have season 2 of Shaun the Sheep, the TV show, which is lovely. If you've seen the movie, go back, check out season 2 of the show, or season 1 for that matter. 40 episodes. They're all really short, though. They're short little vignettes. No dialogue. Great silent comedy. Very creative. All the same characters. Really beautifully put together. Very, very fun stuff. And then a new release, Shaun the Sheep, Sheep on the Loose, which is, again, all the same characters and an awful lot of fun. This is a little bit longer. This is 42 minutes. And I won't tell you. I mean, it all kind of plugs in beautifully, and those darn pigs make me laugh. So there it is. That's our quick run through British and Commonwealth TV. Mark, what do we have on the regular TV front?
Well, we have Lou Grant, and I have a weird relationship with Lou Grant, which is not to say I've been sleeping with Ed Asner, because I haven't been. But the Mary Tyler Moore Show was one of my favorite shows of all time. One of the shows that made me want to work in television. And so there was a 30-minute sitcom, right?
Yep.
That's the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Sure.
So then they spin off Lou Grant, of which, Lou and Mary had all sorts of sparkling dialogue together, and he was the gruff guy.
You've got spunk.
You've got spunk. And I love that.
Spunk.
It was fantastic. And then so what do? They take a 30-minute sitcom and spin Lou Grant off into a 1-hour drama.
They take a character who is effectively a grumpy, overwritten comedic foil, and they turn him into a straight-up, real, dramatic, journalistic titan, and they completely changed the character. There's almost nothing in common except for the name and the job.
He worked at a newspaper.
Yeah.
And which was weird, and none of the characters from Mary Tyler Moore ever showed up, although I think Flo showed up like once.
But the thing is, it became one of the most successful TV shows of its time.
I know. It was up
incredible.
For like a billion Primetime Emmy Awards, Golden Globes.
Every year.
Peabody.
Every year was a huge Emmy thing. I mean, and it was really, really well written, and Ed Asner was terrific in it. I mean, it was a very strange transition from sitcom to drama, but
I never got into it because when I was that age, I was very, very young watching the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and I thought it was hilarious and funny, and then here's Lou Grant just...
You're like, I'm not laughing.
I'm not laughing. I don't want to watch this.
I know.
But this is this first season on DVD, 22 episodes, Shout Factory. A new interview with Ed Asner, obviously much older now. It's funny, like, when we were first watching the show, I would look at Ed Asner, and you can see him on the cover of the DVD, Wade.
Yeah.
I was looking at Ed Asner thinking, he must be 70 years old, right? Now you realize when you look at him now, how old we are.
Yeah.
We're probably older than he was in this shot.
I know.
Right? When we watched the show originally, he looked like he was a million.
I know.
Now we're like older than
Scary,
him.
right?
We're older.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mystery Science Theater 3000. This is volume 2. So we get this thing, Mystery Science Theater 3000 Volume 2, and everybody knows how much I love Mystery Science Theater 3000. And I'm looking at this going, Volume 2, well, they've already released like 20 volumes of this thing already. Why is this suddenly Volume 2? And I look at the back of the box, and it says, take that, third-party sellers. Volume 2 is back in print and better than ever. I'm like, wait a second. So I go to my completely comprehensive Mystery Science Theater 3000 collection, and here is Volume 2.
Uh-huh.
This is the one that I guess is out of print.
Okay.
This is the original one that was released in, whatever it was, 2002.
Yeah.
And it has it's the same thing. It's just much slimmer casing. It has Angel's Revenge, Cave Dwellers, Pod People, Shorts, Volume 1. So if the one that I have with this cute little...
That's much cooler.
But
That's got the whole little wheel and the packaging thing, and wow.
And if this is out of print, I should keep this.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Instead of having this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because that's going to be valuable for collectors.
Well, the only thing is that I like watching them. So I guess I should just keep this one.
Yeah, for sure.
Now the new one is better because the packaging is way slimmer.
Well, it's a keep case. It's plastic. It's it's more durable. But you got a fun.
So if you have your original Mystery Science Theater 3000 Volume 2, you may want to keep that. Like I'm keeping mine because it'll be worth something someday. Now, right. Well, actually, I'm curious to see.
Got all those shorts on it. I've seen a lot of these actually.
Well, here's the thing.
Body care and grooming is very funny.
The only Mystery Science.
Why study industrial arts?
To me, the only Mystery Science Theater volumes worth keeping are the ones that include shorts because the shorts were the best.
A date with your family.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there you go, folks. So Mystery Science Volume 2. If you have the original packaging, which I do, you might want to keep that. If you don't, then you should get this one because the packaging is slimmer, which is always better for the shelf.
Yeah. All right, so got some television to roll through. Classic TV. This is all really interesting stuff. So My Friend Flicka. Which,
oh my God!
You ever see My Friend Flicka?
You know what? My friend Flicka was the punchline for so many jokes of that era. Because you know what I mean, like Bob Hope. Anyway, yeah, it was like My Friend Flicka. Like that, it's just terrible.
Well, the movie My Friend Flicka starred a very young Roddy McDowall, a little older than he was in How Green Was My Valley, but it starred a very young Roddy McDowall, and it was lovely. It's basically a boy and his horse movie. Flicka, Flicka. Roddy McDowall had that voice his whole career. So what I had never realized was that this was actually a TV series.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
I grew up on 60s television, okay? So to me, anything from the 50s that wasn't Leave It to Beaver or, Ozzie and Harriet, that was all, and I Love Lucy. That was kind of it. A lot of the other stuff from the 50s I discovered later. So there are a lot of 50s TV shows that sort of just fell by the wayside that were not rerunning when I was growing up. And this is one of them. This one just completely vanished. And this is out from Shout Factory, who mined it from 20th Century Fox. And it only ran for a single season, 39 episodes. So this is the complete run of it. And they turned it into obviously you do not have Roddy McDowall here. You have Johnny Washbrook. But it's essentially the same thing. It's he's a little kid and he lives with his parents and it takes place around about 1900. It's kind of sort of Western, kind of modern, not quite a Western, not quite modern, and he loves his horse, and that's it. And 1956 to 57 is when it aired, about 13, 14 years after the original film, and it's fine. It's sort of, I guess I like it better than Gentle Ben or any of the other kid and animal shows. Flipper was the other one. There were a lot of kid and animal shows at that time. So I guess I probably like this better just because I'm not really into bears and I don't really have a great affection for dolphins interacting with humans.
I used to love dolphins.
But I like horses. I like horses.
They shoot horses, don't they?
Man.
That was a movie.
Yeah. Wonder Years, Season 5, continues to be very Wonder Year-ish. These things, keep getting put out now that they've got the song rights issues all sorted out. So they released the whole thing, obviously, a little over a year ago in that giant locker case, and now we're releasing the individual seasons and really putting the emphasis on all the great songs. And the songs are almost, at this point, really the only reason to go for this. So a lot of great stuff on here, the Archies and Frankie Avalon and Linda Ronstadt and Joni Mitchell and Muddy Waters. A lot of great stuff on here. Fun show. Dates kind of poorly, I have to be honest. Once you get around to past one season of this thing, it starts to feel like it's kind of belaboring the point, but the music and the integration of the music is still terrific. Carol Plus 2, the original Queens of Comedy. This is a television special that included Carol Burnett and Lucille Ball. And a lot of people probably didn't even know that happened, and it did in 1966, and it's actually really, really, really great. It's a little weird seeing the two of them together because they represent kind of iconic comedy actresses from different eras, and their styles of comedy are not quite the same, but they mesh rather nicely, and they add to this some really wonderful extras, including the 1972 Once Upon a Mattress, which was a TV movie that that starred Carol, Ken Berry, Jane White, Bernadette Peters, and Jack Gilford. And then there's also a little featurette that has Carol Burnett talking about Charwoman, which is a character that she introduced on Carol and Company in the 1960s. And I got to tell you, man, it's just like a weird piece of history because I guess I knew this had happened, but I was not thoroughly aware of it. But anyway, Carol Burnett and Lucille Ball together in a great 1960s TV special. And then real quickly, we've got the Red Skelton Show, the best of the early years, 1955 to 58. Really raw stuff, but lots of fun characters. Red Skelton is the best. The little bits on here, they probably feel unsophisticated by modern standards, but Red Skelton's still one of the great all-time classics on TV. The final season of Facts of Life, really this needed to kind of come to an end. So they bring that to an end. Now you have the complete series of Facts of Life is out there on DVD, season 9, and then the Beverly Hillbillies gets its digitally remastered first season finally released, including the original extended pilot episode, one of the all-time classic TV shows. This basically, preceded Green Acres, which is Beverly Hillbillies turned inside out. And really great performances here. Fun stuff. Granny and Jed Clampett and Jethro, cannot get enough of this stuff. This was like
it's about time they came out with that.
This was my childhood.
So let me see.
Well, the first season's been out before, but it looked crappy. They remastered it. And then also there are a lot of Beverly Hillbillies shows, episodes that are that are in the public domain. You know about this, right?
I never liked the show, although Buddy Epson was funny.
There are about 6, 7, 8 episodes that are in the public domain for some strange reason. And they have been released in really, really bad copies from bad videotape masters at least 50 or 60 times by these little bottom feeder distribution companies. But because the show is in the public domain doesn't mean the theme song is. So every single one of them throws some kind of generic hillbilly music over the original theme song so that you can get away with releasing it without having to get the license for it. It's kind of cheesy. So this is what you want to get. You definitely want to go with the Beverly Hillbillies, the official first season, digitally remastered for the first time. Looks much better than it did previously. So definitely check it out. And the pilot is really fascinating.
No. Wait.
Yes.
We have something very special to talk about.
Oh, it's the worst show.
So,
oh my gosh.
Stephen Bochco, this is probably before many of you were even born. Stephen Bochco, we all know him. Stephen Bochco, Hill Street Blues.
It's amazing his career didn't end after this.
NYPD Blue and Doogie Howser and all these great shows. He was the king.
Mm-hmm.
In 1990, he decided that, you know what? He was done producing good shows. And he decided to produce one of the worst shows ever made. Which, by the way, is universally considered one of the worst shows ever made.
It's truly dreadful.
And
I don't know what bit him. It's just weird. Why would you? I don't know.
It is a combination of a police procedural, which he did so brilliantly multiple times on primetime TV, and musical. So essentially what we have is Cop Rock. And Cop Rock from 1990 is a show that combines procedural. It's cops in uniform, and it looks very serious, and they're solving crimes. And then every once in a while, they'll just break out into song because that's what they do on Cop Rock. And it's very funny because on the back of the box, Shout Factory's. It's funny. I'm actually surprised Shout Factory did this because in the back of the box they say, "Cop Rock is finally on DVD, a cause for both celebration and a long overdue reappraisal."
Yeah,
That's
no,
been
that's not gonna
called one of
happen.
the most unusual programs of all time. Now, it was not called one of the most unusual. It was called one of the worst. And this thing was canceled after like 11 episodes, and it became synonymous with failed shows. That's like Cop Rock.
It's legendary. It's
Yes.
legendary.
I'm very surprised that Shout Factory, which is such a cool company, and they do so much great stuff, that they didn't just own it and say, like, one of the worst shows ever made
They needed
is on
to.
DVD.
They
It
needed
would have been
to.
funny if they would have done that.
Because that's the way they promoted the Jeff Altman thing, the variety show, Pink Lady and Jeff.
Oh,
That's
is
how
that what they did?
Oh yeah, when that was released, I mean it's been a decade now, but that's one of my most treasured DVD possessions. I keep that thing in a safe. They released it as like, come and see one of the worst television shows ever. They owned it. They promoted the hell out of that DVD as being basically the train wreck that you have got to see to believe.
The only thing I can think of is if they didn't want to piss off Stephen Bochco in case
Yeah,
they get
probably.
the rights to some of his shows in the future.
Yeah.
But Cop Rock, folks,
Oh, my
you've got to
gosh.
see this thing to believe it. It is literally one of the worst, definitely one of the worst 1 hour dramas. Unusual, yes, in the sense that it was terrible.
So the whole Power Ranger thing really did not start with the Power Rangers. It started with Super Sentai, the original Japanese Super Sentai series. And Shout Factory has now released, this is the third one. The first one was Super Sentai Zayu Ranger. The second one, it's just like, with like the Power Rangers, they keep coming up. The second one was Super Sentai Gosei Sentai Dai Ranger. And now we have Super Sentai Ninja Sentai Kaku Ranger.
Well, that's what Haim Saban did. He bought hundreds of episodes of those shows, which were just available for pennies.
And then he shot new footage with white actors and intercut that stuff and kind of changed the plots a little bit. And
became a multiple quadrillionaire.
It's ridiculous. Well, anyway, this is the original, and this is, again, the third one. This is Ninja Sentai Kaku Ranger. Super Sentai, and it's no less ridiculous as a Japanese series, but it feels a little more cohesive because it is the original series. This is the way this stuff was supposed to be, and it's all the same stuff, but you're not going to see anything new here. It's just the costumes are ridiculous, but unbelievably cool at the same time. It's like people dressing up as toys. And the worst special effects ever. So anyway, I'm not going to recommend this for everybody unless you have a real fetish for Japanese kitsch television, kitsch genre television. You'll get a kick out of it.
Wade, an interesting show that probably slipped under a lot of radars is this WGN show called Outsiders.
Yep.
And Outsiders, which is an original show from WGN, which is bizarre. They've done a couple of original shows. This one, it's funny. There was a documentary years ago called Off the Grid about these people who live completely untethered from society. They have little tent cities in the desert, and they have absolutely no need for local governments or state governments. They just live the way they want to live, and that's it. And
Nice.
Outsiders is like that. It is a fictional version of sort of that documentary Off the Grid. It's about this family, and they live in Appalachia, and they're trying to control their little area of Appalachia, and they are completely off the grid.
So it's about Trump voters.
Yes.
I'm sorry I had to go there.
Good job. So all they do is they have their own rituals.
They love
and
him in
their own
Appalachia,
customs. Huh?
They love him in Appalachia,
Of course they do.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Come on. And so I think this thing is pretty good. It's there's definitely interesting avenues to explore in a bunch of people who do whatever they want and are not tethered to any sort of government control. And the good thing about it is that it stars David Morse.
Nice.
And we always love David Morse.
David Morse.
Yep, he's
Can do no wrong.
Yep,
He was
always
great in the
terrific.
Will Smith film. You know that.
Yeah, he was the one guy that made you think how terrible that thing was.
Because it starts with him. He owns that movie. He really does. I mean, Will Smith is great, but
No, but you've got to believe.
Yeah.
You've got to believe that
You have
he
to believe
died
him.
such a horrible
That's
death.
That's it.
That it would spur all of this controversy.
Yes. Yeah.
And
It starts with him, and he really lights the fuse on that movie. Then he hands the baton.
Anyway, The Outsiders, a
good.
movie that kind of slipped under a show that slipped under a lot of radars, but what kind of, and plus, you know what? How bad could it be? Paul Giamatti is one of the producers.
There you go.
How bad could it be?
And The Travel Detective Season 2 with Peter Greenberg. This is a one of those, PBS travel shows. It's actually really fun. I love travel shows. I don't know why. I used to watch the Travel Channel all the time. Haven't done so ever since I had a child, because when you have a child, you don't travel very much, and you don't want to really tempt yourself. But Peter Greenberg, who is the travel editor for CBS News, really is just like, he's not just a host. He's not just some guy that says, hey, now we're in Barbados. Isn't it pretty? Look at the women in bikinis and look at those nice beaches. I think I'm going to go have a Mai Tai. That's usually the way these travel shows go. No, he actually knows his stuff, and this is helpful. This is not, a travel show that makes you feel really badly because you're not able to be with the host. This is for people who want to travel, who need the information, who want an expert actually guiding them to be able to replicate the travel. And it's really great. 8 episodes here. And they include all kinds of really, really interesting things, like over-the-top airline seats, training passengers like crew, boating safety, Egypt tourism. This is like a travel show for real travelers, and it's good. It's really, really good. And he goes into some interesting places and like out of the way, unusual gems to kind of go visit. It's really interesting. Good show. All right, Mark, in the little bit of time that we have left, how about some foreign? Let's rock some foreign films. Some foreign films here that we've neglected for a few weeks. One in particular I want to talk about, The Cut, which is by Fatih Akin. We love Fatih Akin, don't we?
We do, yep.
We love him.
Absolutely.
Fatih Akin is a Turkish, German citizen, ethnically Turkish director who makes movies that basically deal primarily with the experience of being ethnically Turk and living in Germany. Head On was the film that really captured everybody's attention. Still,
and the one after that I liked a lot too. That was
I did
called,
too.
Something I can't remember.
It was kind of a comedy. It was sort of a culinary comedy. But anyway, he's a phenomenal filmmaker, and Head On. Gosh, that is just still
Edge of Heaven. That was the one.
Edge of Heaven. That's right. I forgot about that.
That's the one I loved.
That is good. Anyway, he makes great movies, and this one is The Cut. This is released by Strand. It's only on DVD, not on Blu-ray, unfortunately. I keep hoping Strand will choose to release this. But anyway, there are now, despite the objections of the Turkish government, there are now slowly movies trickling out that are dealing with the Armenian genocide. None too soon, I would say, over a century after it happened. Turkish government continues to deny it and is not fond of movies coming out that deal with it, but European movies in particular are finally trickling out and wrestling with the subject, and this is his attempt as an expat ethnic Turk who can look at it somewhat objectively of dealing with it. And he actually considers this to be part of a trilogy that includes Head On and The Edge of Heaven. So
Soul Kitchen.
That's the one I was thinking.
I also liked a lot.
I like Soul Kitchen.
Not as much as Head On.
Yeah.
I did like Soul Kitchen.
So anyway,
very talented guy.
Yeah. So this is effectively he considers this part of a trilogy. They're not really a trilogy. They're 3 films that are incredibly different, and it's funny. I'd totally forgotten about Edge of Heaven. But anyway, yeah, these are very, very different films, and I guess in a thematic sense they kind of tie together. But anyway, it's quite good, and it is about a guy looking for his daughters. After they are separated during the events of 1915, and it is quite moving, and probably, I guess, I hate to say should be better than it is. I didn't like how it's kind of winds up in the United States at a certain point. I hope I'm not spoiling anything, but it is by and large a really, really good film, and so few good films have been made about this subject that I have to actually recommend it. Antonia's Line won an Academy Award.
Yay.
Remember this?
Yes, great.
It's a great film. Antonia's Line, Marlene Goris, Dutch film. This won an Academy Award in 1996 for Best Foreign Language Film. Film Movement has released it in a gorgeous Blu-ray as part of their Film Movement Classics line. And it includes an interview with Marlene Goris from the time of the film and an essay about the film. And, it's essentially about a woman who comes back after World War II to a small town where she's inherited her mother's farm. And the unusual, eccentric people in this nice little strange town, and how she gets back in, and she kind of switches everything up, and it is quite a good film actually. I interviewed Marlene Goris at the time, and I was struck by not only how unbelievably arrogant she was, but how incredibly unapproachable she was as a director. It was almost like, why am I here? Why am I bothering with you? It was not the easiest interview I've ever done.
It's funny because she treated everybody else with utter respect.
Yeah. It was not the easiest interview I've ever done. However, she's a tremendously talented filmmaker. So I pass no judgment on her, but I do wish my interview with her had been easier. Let's see. We've got Patricio Guzman's The Pearl Button on Blu-ray. Guzman, one of the kind of the shining star of Chilean cinema, has done a lot of really extraordinary films. A genius documentarian in many respects. His movies are almost more. I don't know. They're almost existential in some way. He doesn't just he draws connections between things that ordinarily would not seem to have connections. Right? He finds these existential through lines in things that are above and beyond the sort of linearity of most documentaries. And in any case, this one looks at the role that water plays, primarily in the history of Chile's indigenous population, and how it's sort of the role that it plays in colonialism and the history of Chile, and it's really unbelievably interesting. Goes through it's sort of like the history of Chile through water. It's very, very unusual and very interesting, and really upsetting on certain levels. But as we often know, water is controlled throughout the world. If you control water, if you control the waterways, if you control access to water, you can control a country, and that's kind of the history of Los Angeles too.
It's Chinatown.
It's Chinatown, exactly. So, really, really very interesting. And then before we run out of time, Confession of a Child of the Century with Charlotte Gainsbourg and Peter Doherty. This is a Sylvie Verheide movie from Cohen. It is on Blu-ray. It was at Cannes in the Uncertain Regard section. And it is based on a novel that most of you have probably never heard of, although I think it's a bigger deal in France than it is here, obviously. I don't think Confessions of the Child of the Century ever was really properly translated into English. So in any case, it's worth checking out. It takes place in 1830, and it's just one of those really, really dark, depressing, but interesting family dramas that deals with, I guess, very kind of Alexander Dumas-like Victor Hugo meets Alexander Dumas. All the tragedy and the horror and the heartbreak that disrupts the lives of these people, and all the tragic, maybe a little bit of Tom Hardy in there too. So it's worth checking out, mainly because Charlotte Gainsbourg is so incredibly good in it. And Sylvie Verheide, I'm not that familiar with as a filmmaker, but certainly am now. So and Cannes going on right now. A lot more interesting things going on at Cannes than here. So
I know. I wish I could be there.
Yeah. All right. That is it for this week's show.
Don't forget. No.
Oh, yeah, Mark, go ahead. Pitch the thing.
You can have the Dirty Grandpa bottle of prescription pills, which again are probably Tic Tacs, and I will even throw in the H&M bra that they give you, the flowery floral bra, if you are the fifth person to email us at gods@digigods.com. Put Dirty Grandpa's pills in the subject line, and please include your address. You will get the pills in the bra.
And because of our senility this week, we once again ran out of time before we could get to the Vox Box. Nope. So next show,
First thing out of the gate.
First thing.